Hello, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about communication rage, and it's happened to me recently again, and it's something that in hindsight, looking back now, it's probably when I've always been closest to a meltdown, is when I'm having a communication breakdown and I get communication rage as a result of it. And basically it's trying to convey simple ideas and concepts to other people, and in my head I'm taking certain things for granted, certain logical things, like we don't need to talk about the obvious things. I'm just talking about these specific details, and you're not on the same page as me. I'm like 3 or 4 pages ahead of you, and I have to play this game of catch up where I think we're on the same page, and I end up talking, and then I have to backtrack my thinking back to the very beginning and establish a baseline, and then move forward again. And by this time I've already started working myself up, and I'm getting sometimes animated. My voice gets louder, I get ruder, and it's something that I don't even realise I'm doing, and it's just born out of extreme frustration that I am not talking to a person that thinks the same as me, which is why when I was younger and before I was diagnosed, I will admit that I thought there were so many stupid people in my life, in my work life, in my social life, that just I couldn't believe sometimes how they struggled to understand simple concepts of things, which is really ironic because I can't even understand a joke, but I can understand other things that neurotypicals find difficult to get to. I'm very good at visually concepting things and understanding how things work, and understanding things have to be done in a certain order. It's like problem solving, it's like puzzle solving, and that's the way I look at things. And when I'm speaking to people that, and I'll tell you what it is, it's always, I kind of start a conversation and I've jumped in and I've taken certain assumptions that the other person has got a basic understanding of the problem, and they probably haven't, because I haven't gone to the troubles of explaining it, because in my head it didn't need explaining. That's taken for granted, and if I find I get into a conversation where that happens, I end up being extremely frustrated that I've wasted a lot of time, I've angered myself, I've riled myself up, I've raised my blood pressure, my heart rate, and I've gone really over the top about a conversation, and then I end up getting people looking at me going, what the hell was that about? And it has happened recently a couple of times, where it's normally when I'm in a rush and I need an answer to something, and I quickly explain something to somebody and say, right, give me the answer, and they go, right, hang on a minute, so let's go back to the beginning. Oh right, yeah, oh right, I get it now, yeah, oh yeah, you did say, yeah, and I'm already, the person's already rolled me to the point where I'm mega frustrated. It's me, it's all about me. I mean, this isn't me feeling I'm superior, this isn't me feeling people I'm talking to are thinks very quickly and gets to a certain point down the conversation path, and the people I'm talking to aren't quite there. And it is the way I explain things, and it is the way I make assumptions, and I get that. But then the flip side of that is I get to try and explain things in a really simple. You can't not get this if I explain it to you in these simple terms, because now I'm coming across as condescending, and it's always a fine line that I'm walking between being condescending and giving and expecting people to catch up with me quick enough that we can just carry the conversation really quickly. And that's where a lot of my anger issues come from, I think, where I've had miscommunications, where I thought I've explained things very clearly, black and white, and I've explained them in an Aspie way. I've explained them in a way that, here are the facts, what are we going to do, and a neurotypical doesn't respond well to that. I don't think they don't respond well to being given all the facts and getting up to speed very quickly and then moving on. I'm always seem I'm in a rush as well for that kind of feedback. I'll tell you what, something that was come up the other day was the question of, do people with Aspergers get on better potentially with people with Aspergers or neurotypical people? And I thought it was an interesting question, because on the face of it, why should I be getting on with people with autism or Asperger's any better than I get on with neurotypical people? Because they've got their problems and their issues and their struggles, and both our empathy levels are very low, so we're probably not even interested in each other's life and stories and struggles. But I thought, well, would I get on with them better? Because I've never met anyone with Asperger's. Would I get on better with them because they could get up to speed and they'd be on the same page as me quicker? And possibly if I was to forge a friendship with someone with Asperger's, that might be good, to have someone that I can bounce off, or to have someone in my life that I can who just thinks the same as me, and I don't have to slow myself down or recap, and go back to the beginning. And sometimes, would I just find their company better because of that, or would I be infinitely more annoyed and irritated by their limitations and struggles that I can see in myself, but I haven't got any time for? I don't know. I'll have to come back to that one, and possibly on a later date, and if I ever meet someone else with Asperger's, how it is talking to someone, because I'm always going on these videos about living in a world where you're working with the NT way of doing things, and the way NT people think about things and process information and problem solve. It would be really interesting comparison to be able to have had that interaction with someone who's Asperger's and think, actually, I get on better with that person, or I have less issues with that person, or I have less blow-ups where I'm not frustrated and I don't have these communication breakdowns and this communication rage. So I often do lose my rag unnecessarily. I try not to. I try to hold it in, but sometimes it kind of just boils over where I don't understand why someone hasn't grasped what I'm saying, and I know it's probably me, and it doesn't excuse my behaviour, but I think that would be fair to say that if you knew me, you know I do that quite a bit, where I kind of, I say things out loud to people. Really, you don't understand that? What the hell have you been doing all your life? You didn't even know that. I've got to explain that to you now before you can understand the next bit. And it's patronising, and it's condescending, and it comes across as really rude, and I know it does, but sometimes it gets the better of me, and sometimes it's got the better of me to the point where I've had a meltdown over it, that someone couldn't understand something that I saw perfectly clear in my head. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.